Welcome back. Okay, so you know how we talked about One Piece last time? We're still going to talk about it, just not this time. Right. We promise. As much as we love wearing the same outfit over and over, because let's be real, what else do we own? Maybe that's a me problem, not a you problem. But anyway.
No, I own a second shirt. I just cannot find it anywhere.
To be fair, I own like at least 6 different One Piece shirts.
Yeah.
Long sleeve or not. So I digress.
Right.
Not the point of this episode. But we are going to be talking about Sk8 and Medalist today. I don't watch Sk8, my bad. So defer you to Audrey. But once again, I'm Quincy Lell.
I'm Audrey Williams.
And
yeah, so the big news with Sk8 is that there was an OVA that recently got released, I believe, on the 24th. But in Japan only, not in America yet. I don't know when the American release date is, but essentially, like, I don't really know the plot of the OVA, to be honest, because I did watch the trailer, but it's only in Japanese currently.
As usual.
So not 100% sure what they're saying, but going off of, like, what I saw in the trailer itself, it looks pretty interesting. It's about, part of it, I believe, is supposed to be, like, Joe and Cherry's, like, past with Adam in high school, and then, the other part of it is gonna be, like, stuff with Reki and Longa, currently, but, like, probably after the original show aired. I just don't know, like, specifics about, like, what the plot with them will be, but that's something to look forward to, and I'm excited to see, like, the stuff with Joe, Cherry, and Adam, like, when they were in high school, because in the show currently, in the show as it is now, they're, like, I don't know how old, but they're, like, in their 20s, something like that, so that'll be exciting.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I know it's skateboarding.
Right.
That's really all I know.
That's kind of all you need to know.
That's fair. I do, yeah, that's pretty much the truth for all sports anime, like Haikyuu, volleyball, Blue Lock, soccer. That's really all you need to know.
Blue Lock really is just soccer, to be fair.
God, it really is. At least, like, I don't know, if I've heard of, like, a good sports anime, it's usually, like, Slam Dunk or Haikyuu.
Yeah,
those are, like,
true.
the two most. Haikyuu because I think modern, Slam Dunk because classic, ironically.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping it'll come out soon, like, for sub, at least, somewhere.
I feel like, no, I didn't look it up, so I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like it should be by the end of this year, if nothing else.
Well, God, I hope so.
I would hope so.
This year just started.
Right.
I would hope more like the end of the season, if nothing else. That gives them, like, a couple months to put it out. Did it, like... So it just aired and didn't, like, release on streaming anywhere?
Not that I can tell.
That kind of sucks. Where does it normally stream?
I believe it's, like, only on Funimation, because I haven't seen it on, like, Hulu or Netflix or anything like that.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Oh, actually, Crunchyroll, never mind.
Really? Crunchy has it? Okay, well, then I would probably wager Crunchy might get it in a couple months. They're usually pretty fast about it. Obviously, movie licenses aside.
Yeah.
They're usually fast about getting streaming. Anyway. Obviously not exclusively, as we see. But I digress.
Right.
Speaking of not exclusively, Medalist is on Hulu, if you don't know where to watch this show. Because I didn't know where to find it either until I, like... browsed multiple different streaming sites. At one point, I was almost convinced it was like Bleach being on Disney Plus of all things, and was like,
oh, weird.
Where? Because I was like, where is Medalist? And then I'm looking on Disney Plus, and it just pops up, and I'm like, but it's because of Hulu. It's
yeah, they're connected.
They're connected now, which I find creepy still. But I digress. Not what we're here to talk about. But okay, so I've watched 4 episodes of just like the 4th just released for Medalist. I've watched all of them,
and I watched the first 2, so I know like.
No.
I know what's in the first 2.
Well, like, the premise. You know half of what I know.
Right.
It's not that much more. Apparently, like, okay, I guess I don't know much about sports, but apparently if you're, like, older than 12, you're, like, completely disadvantaged to start figure skate. Like, you shouldn't even bother trying.
Yeah.
Which this show really blatantly puts forward to this 10-year-old girl.
Right.
Everyone's saying, don't even bother.
I think it's, like... Doesn't a similar thing happen in dancing where, like, you have to start that out kind of young? Or maybe dancing isn't the exact same.
Yeah, it's not things... I mean, like, people can pick it up. Obviously, the more you practice something, the more you're going to have an advantage. But it's not, like... I feel like it's different from, like, traditional sports like soccer, basketball, where you could pick them up in middle school, aka, like, 12 years old, and still go to be a pro. Where, like, obviously, the more you practice, the better. But, like, I feel like it's more like gymnastics.
Yeah.
Because that's also really critical about height and everything. And you got to really start young to get those skills. But I think dancing also falls into that.
Yeah.
But these are, like... But I feel like it's also a little different for figure skating because of, like... I don't want to say how, like, less prevalent, but kind of less prevalent it is, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I feel like of those three, it's definitely...
You hear about figure skating less often than you
Yeah.
do the other two, so yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. But I don't know. It's kind of like that. I mean, I knew you had to start young, but like the whole like, oh, if you start later than like 12, don't even bother.
Yeah, that was something I didn't really know about going into it either, because the only other show that I've watched before this that touched on figure skating was Yuri on Ice.
Literally.
And they don't
touch on that.
They're already like
pros.
They're adults and they're pros, so
Yeah.
they don't go into that really. So it was interesting to see in these like 2 episodes that like concept being touched on.
For sure. And I like how obviously this is a parallel intentionally, but like with Tsukasa and Inori, he had that situation and still went and like, okay, I will say like this is just from my perspective, having watched all 4 so far. Mainly the first 3 actually. I think it's the 3rd one. I don't know if I'll find out when I tell you what I tell you, if you don't mind a little spoiler for episode 3. But like, obviously I'm gonna spoil these first 4 episodes. Let's put that out there right now. But for him, he always seems like so despondent talking about it, like, oh, I was so, if only I'd started younger. Yeah. But at the same time, he chose pairs with apparently a really good female skater. But all I could think about is like, yeah, you didn't place, but I don't know, like, you got there?
Right.
Like, you got there, you got to compete. So I don't know, I feel like he downplays how good he is.
Yeah, I think like he harps on the fact that he didn't start young.
Yeah.
Because, well, I think he was thinking of it already, but like having to coach Inori now, it's like on his mind a little bit more. But he is like a good skater. I don't like.
Yeah. Wait, did you see him skate a little bit, like of her routine yet?
Oh no, not her routine.
Okay.
But I did see like when he was coaching her how to like push off the ice.
Yes.
That part.
Well, I would hope he knows that. But you do get to see a little bit more when she starts learning her program in the 3rd episode, and like everyone in the rink is just watching him like with awe, including Inori. And she's like, at first she's embarrassed. She's like, oh my gosh, everyone's watching us, because he's doing her routine with her to make her feel more confident about being stared at.
Right.
Like she feels like, you know, the typical everyone's looking at me.
Yeah.
Even if they're not kind of vibe. And he starts skating, and she's like, oh my god, like incredible. Which obviously, practicing for years will do that, but it's also just, in my perspective, it makes me believe he, like, obviously he did want to start sooner, but I also feel like he did get far enough.
Yeah.
Obviously, if he could compete at, like, I don't know what he competed at, but based on, like, everything, maybe a really important competition. Even if it was just pairs and not singles, that's still impressive.
Right.
But I digress. Anyway, so the point is we like the premise and we like the figure skating. Do you want to talk about the animation?
Oh, yeah, because I think, like, I was saying this earlier that there are parts of the show that are in 3D, and it's mainly whenever people are skating. And I think, like, you can definitely tell that it's 3D animated, but it doesn't, like a lot of other shows, you'll notice it and it, like, takes away from your experience. But I think in this show, it doesn't really do that. It actually, like, for me, it added to it because, again, my only point of reference for figure skating is Yuri on Ice.
Wait,
but,
you
like,
haven't, like, watched real world figure skating?
Well, animated figure.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
Like, my only point of reference for, like, how it can be animated is Yuri on Ice, and, like, that show does a good job of it, too. But the main issue is that, like, when they start skating and they're, like, announcing what moves they've done, it's kind of hard to, like, tell yourself, like, okay, this is what this is.
Yeah.
Whereas in Medalist, when they do the 3D animation, you can, like, figure out how they're moving a lot easier. At least that's what it feels like to me.
And even the step sequences and, like, certain movements they perform, like Inori... Okay, we'll touch a little on episode 4, but Inori, you do get to see her perform in her first competition. Love her. She's great. But anyway, you see when... It's... Okay, like, that's obviously an entire 3D scene. But it's like, you know, they do the typical, like, how Demon Slayer kind of reinvented the use of 3D animation in anime, where they kind of, like, almost draw over that to make it look like it was hand-drawn, if that makes sense. That kind of, it looks like that. You can tell when you look at it. But, like, they do a really good job of making everything fluid with all of her movements. Even, like, do you mind a slight spoiler? I don't want to, like, make it ruin your experience, but she does fall. But even that looks very, like, natural and fluid, like, on the ice, too. Yeah. Like, how they just animate it. So, anyway... All that to say, I don't, like, it's like the whole dumb, I don't know why people who didn't like Trigon, the remake, because of the 3D, it's like, what? It looks great. Yeah. Guys, y'all don't know. If you're complaining about that, go watch some isekai. They have terrible 3D animation in those sometimes. Very true. So I think you can stomach the Trigon. So this is kind of like that, where I feel like they're really reinventing the wheel, and such a use, like, it really does push the show. Like, if it didn't have the 3D, I would not be as engaged in the performance and learning figure skating alongside Inori.
You can Oh, sorry. I was gonna say, you can tell that it's definitely, like, a stylistic choice and not, like, we're just putting this in just so that we have it.
For sure.
Type of deal, so yeah.
Yeah, definitely utilizing it very well, especially to, like, teach figure skating.
Right.
Because as someone who doesn't know the difference between a Lutz and a toe loop, besides jumping on the ice,
Right.
like, I'm sure obviously toe jumping from there. Lutz, I don't even know, but like the only one I can really tell, all of those happen, and then the axle is the only one I can tell because that's the only time you're facing forward.
Oh, I see.
I don't know any other jump, but either way, I do like how they elaborate, like very Haikyuu-esque, where you just follow someone really entering the sport for like the first time and learning how to do these things, even if they've been like kind of familiar with it before. Very new to it, obviously. She's literally like, what, 10?
Yeah.
So, you know, but for sure. I will say, I do like, okay, her quirk about the worms, it's a little weird at first, but it is really, like, sweet, kind of in the most unexpected way, because I think she does this in the 3rd episode, actually, but has she grabbed his little, like, drawstrings for his hoodie?
Yeah,
I love that. Okay, that's the second episode. I love that. She's like, oh, they look like worms, and they comfort me. I'm like, okay, what a weird thing, but cute, you're a little kid. Aside from that, though, I do feel like, from what little we've seen, they're interesting characters. I think you meet her in the 3rd episode. Mike's weird.
Is she the, like, long black hair girl?
No, she's a little kid. No, she's a little kid. She's younger than Inori. She's not. I don't. Is it Hikaru?
Yeah.
One of the famous famous figure skaters same age as Inori. She's nice. I thought they were gonna be like rude rival, but they went to like normal actual kid.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm really glad that they're friends, because the opening made it seem like they were gonna be like, like rude rivals, and they are like against each other technically because they're both going for the same thing, but they're like friends along the way, so that's really sweet. Yeah,
of course, the blonde boy.
Yeah, he sucks.
Is it just a trend in anime? If you have blonde hair that's spiky and you're male, you're rude?
Yeah.
Like, is that just the thing? Because, like, it's happened so many times. I'm almost expecting the same voice actor to do the same bits. But anyway.
Right.
But no, so you'll meet her in the 3rd episode, I guess. She's, like, the main, like, rival for Inori in the competition because they play in the same, same level of competency. So, like, actual competition, whereas Hikari's, like, way above Inori. So, but, like, it's a little weird how she acts, but I mean, I forgive it because, like, you just gotta think a second. She's, like, I think 3 years, she's, like, a few years younger than Inori. Oh. So I gives, like, at first it's, like, really weird because it's got that little anime rivalry attached to it. Yeah. And, like, her bitterness to adults, which it'll make more sense when you watch it. And it's like, kid, you're, like, 7. Why are you acting like you've been burnt out all your life, being betrayed by everyone?
Right, like, you're fine.
You're fine, just figure skate, okay? You clearly have support from your family. So anyway, she's a little weird, but she gets a pass because she's literally a kid, so. Yeah. Anyway, that's really all we have to say about these shows, so obviously if we'll find out if Sk8 OVA is any good whenever
that drops.
Whenever that happens. Sure. Obviously check out Medalist. It is on Hulu, which weird, but there have been shows on Hulu that have been good, like obviously. Exclusive rights aside for Western viewing. But I highly recommend it. It's definitely like nice to have a different show focus because I feel like most lately there's not been too many sports and like Blue Lock's fine and all, but like I do miss that Haikyuu, like actually stepping into the world of sports with the protagonist. Blue Lock just forces you in as if you know everything about soccer, and I don't. I don't.
I know that you can score a goal in soccer.
You can kick a ball.
Yeah.
And if you're a goalie, you can catch it. So, you know, that's pretty much all I know.
I mean, there's more to it.
There's more to it. There's definitely more to it. But, like, Blue Lock doesn't, like, you know, incorporate it into, like, the learning process. And it probably helps with Medalist that Inori is literally a kid. It like, it feels a lot more natural. Yeah. For sure. No offense, Hinata, but you were literally, like, 14, 15, a little late. Yeah. A little awkward. But anyway. So next time, we are going to do a Valentine's Day episode. Yes. So we're going to be talking about a couple of romance anime. Definitely Blue Box, because it's still going. I forgot about that, so I need to catch up. But, you know, it's still on Netflix airing for this season. And potentially Honey Lemon Soda. If we like it. If we don't, we'll not watch it. But, like, we're going to try a couple, maybe, like, the first 3 episodes or so. Yeah. 3 episode rule's a good way to figure it out. We kind of mediumed it out with Medalist in a way. But, yeah, so we're going to talk about that because that was another one that seemed pretty good this season to talk about. So, yeah, once again, I'm Quincy.
And I'm Audrey.
Thanks for watching.